So, I am going to finally admit something that many people for years have been trying to get me to admit, but I'm just a man of consistency. And I hold steadfast to things. So, since we drafted Tua, because I was excited about drafting Tua, I have defended this guy for a very long time on his quarterback play. And I am finally going to admit, so anybody that that knows me, that has tried to get me to say that Tua is not a good quarterback, I'm going to admit to you, he is the Hawaiian Alex Smith. And we see it by this game today. And we'll go into the stats. Basically, Tua Tagovailoa, 29 for 40, 196, one touchdown, 3 interceptions. Devon Achane, 12 for 41. And then Malik Washington was the highest receiver with 5 receptions for 52 yards. And then Jonnu Smith did, he's a stud. He's one of the best pickups that we had. That's for the offense. And then on the defense, Jordan Brooks played usually like Jordan Brooks plays. The corners were, all right, and Chop Robinson looks like the next best thing since sliced bread. So we're going to go straight into Tua. And at this point, there's not much more that you can defend. Am I saying that he's a bad quarterback? No, I'm not saying that he's a bad quarterback. Like I said, he's the Hawaiian Alex Smith, or what is it? Not Hawaiian. Whatever the place that he's from, I forgot. He is the whatever the place is. That's what he is. He's the Alex Smith of the Miami Dolphins, where he's not going to win you the games that you need him to win. But against the teams that you can probably beat, he'll play good against those teams. But when it comes to whatever team that, it's like, this is a top team, we need to beat this team, Tua is just not going to show up. And it's not this game or the Bills game or the, what was the last one we just played? Holy smoke, the Packers game. It's been consistently for years that he's just not going to show up. He's going to throw a lot of interceptions. And again, against the teams that you can beat, he's going to look really good and he's going to look amazing. But then when you play these types of teams that season's on the line, you need to prove yourself. He's just not going to do it, and I've come to the realization of that after this game, because the thing is that you keep thinking that he's finally going to have that baller game that just gets us over the hump. And the problem is he just doesn't. He just doesn't have those games in him. And, I don't know, maybe on another team, maybe with another coach, I'm not sure. But I think we've seen 3 years, 2 different coaches, and those games that we just need to have a perfect game. Honestly, like Omar Kelly says, you need to have that killer in you where it's just, I'm going to win this game. He just doesn't have that. When you look at the interceptions that he threw this game, Mike McDaniel will defend him on the Tyreek Hill one. I'm going to be honest, when you watch that play, Tua didn't even look at where he was throwing. He just threw the ball. And here's the thing, as a quarterback, you should be reading the defense to know what's going on over there. When you look at the first interception, the safety didn't really even move. Like, he was just in the middle of the field, and Tua just threw it right at him, and you can say whatever you want for the positioning that the player is going to be, but when you're in that type of area in the red zone, when you have points on the board, that's a complete 6-point swing where we were going to have 3 points, and you threw an interception to make them have 3 points. So, or not 3 points, they had a touchdown, I'm pretty sure. It's a complete swing of the game, and this is the key here, is that I understand the anticipation, all that. You have to understand when to throw the ball and when not to throw those types of balls. That's the key to Patrick Mahomes and even Josh Allen and all the top quarterbacks, is they know when to not throw that ball. You're not going to try and throw a ball like that with perfect anticipation in the middle of the field when you're driving down the field and you have points already on the board. So then you go to the second interception, and it's an underthrown ball that Derek Stingley just picks off. And again, it's a lot of the things that we try and defend, that when you play good teams, he's not as confident, and these things show up. And he underthrows it to the inside. You already know it's an out-breaking route. You have to throw it to the out-of-bounds area so that your player is the only player that can catch that ball, because if you throw it too far to the inside, well, Derek Stingley intercepts the ball. And again, people keep saying Tua noodle arm. At this point, you watch him play, and it's like, yeah, guy can't throw the ball. Like, he has to have everything perfect happen for him to be able to hit these throws. And you really don't have any sort of defense against it. And I know I'm going to have some people catch some flack on me for what I'm saying right now, because I've defended Tua, but you watch the tape, bro. Like, this guy cannot throw the ball when the pressure is on. He underthrows it all the time. And then, of course, we'll go to the game-ending interception, and what is it? So the whole game, Derek Stingley is biting on this out route. Biting. So what does Mike McDaniel do? Which I'm not trying to save Mike McDaniel. We'll talk about that in a second. He decides to do what they were calling the whole game in the announcement booth, an out and up. And they do that, and it kind of works. Like, he has at least a foot of space. And what happens? Again, Tua underthrows the ball, and they intercept it. So at this point, there's so much evidence to back up. Now, again, people are going to say he's trash. I don't think that he's trash, because there's a lot of the guy on the Titans, he's trash. Like, that guy is garbage. What is his name? The guy in the Cleveland, I can't remember any quarterback's name because I'm still getting over our game. Those guys are trash. Tua's not trash. He's just going to be a mediocre, average quarterback for his entire career. That's what he's going to do. The pressure moments, like I said, maybe with a different coach, it might be different. But in the pressure moments, he's not going to raise the team up. He's going to fail, and he has shown it time after time after time. Again, you go to the Titans game, failed there through interceptions. You go to the Bills games, interceptions, gets injured, can't even do it. And then the Packers game, he concussion, whatever it was, but starts throwing interceptions. You go to last season, Bills game, interceptions, the Ravens game, interceptions. Like, you see it. It's a consistent thing that every time we need this guy to show up, just doesn't. And he throws interceptions. Not only does he not show up, he throws interceptions, which I would take Alex Smith over Tua, because Alex Smith just didn't throw. He didn't turn the ball over. He didn't move the ball very much. It was 200 yards every game, but he didn't turn the ball over in these games, which, if you consider what's happening right now, if you don't turn the ball over, first off, take 7 points off the board, because the first touchdown that was in the game was because of Tua's pick, which was almost a pick six. So you see that, take 7 points. That's now 13 again to 6 at that point. Then you throw the next interception, but we had 3 points on the board, so that would have been 13-9. So you see what I'm getting at here? It's like those 2 interceptions. It would be 13-9. We'd be down by 4 points. 4 points in this game, based off of 2 interceptions, and then the third one ended the game. Guy's just not it, And at this point, I think we all need to wrap it up. Chris Greer needs to go. Mike McDaniel needs to go. Let Anthony Weaver take over the defense. The team. I don't think he's really that great of a coach either, but at this point, you just need something else. Let Tua play out the rest of the year. Tyreek Hill will go on IR. So will Jalen Waddle. Calais Campbell, let him go to a team that can win. And just kind of try and get the draft pick that you need next year to get a quarterback and to get a different coach, and get a different coach, get a different philosophy. We've seen this for 3 years, and it's not it. At the end of the day, what's the beauty of this? So honestly, what I would say too, I would say next year we maybe see what we can get for Tyreek Hill, and let Waddle, take over as that number 1 role. See what he can do, because you just paid him. You have to see if he can do that. And get a new philosophy in here, man. Everybody's saying it, and I agree with it. Vrabel, get a football coach in here, not a little rinky-dink, specialty, whatever the hell. Get a football coach in here and see what he wants to do. If he wants to keep Tua, let him keep Tua. If he doesn't, move on from Tua, because At this point, it's just not working with him, and I don't know what to do at this point. I understand the offensive line is not good, but get a football coach in here. The first thing that needs to happen, and if I don't see it tomorrow or after this game or something, I wouldn't understand it. Chris Grier needs to get fired. It's just, this guy needs to go. He's built this team for 3 years to just be absolute garbage. And it's time to move on. Again, fresh eyes. You need to get another general manager. You need to get a football coach. And honestly, you need to get a gamer when it comes to the quarterback position. Because again, at the end of the day, I think Tua is going to play fine against the other teams that he has to play against. The 49ers, I think, are going to give him trouble. And honestly, the defense of the Browns are probably going to give him trouble too, because whenever he plays in December, he just folds. He's just not a good player at this time of the year, and he starts throwing interceptions. It happens every single year. So, again, at this point, it's just time to move on from all of this. This little project that we've had with Chris Grier from 6 years ago to now, it's not working, and it's time to move on from this and completely get new, fresh eyes on everything at this point. Someone that's going to build an offensive line, someone that's going to build, there's a lot of key pieces. When you look at Chop Robinson, you have a superstar pass rusher in the making right there. Sealer is another beautiful defensive tackle. Great player right there. Jalen Phillips comes back. You have a good young troop for the defensive line. Linebacker, still need to work on that. Maybe Jordan Brooks stays. I think he'll probably be the middle linebacker. Got to figure out the safety position. Corners, see what you can get for whatever you have. I don't really... you can just see all the holes that we need to plug up. See what you can get for Tyreek Hill. Let Jalen Waddle take over. It just needs to be a whole new roster next year. New coach, new roster, new general manager, new everything, new philosophy. It's just enough at this point. But again, there's some bright sides. Like Chop Robinson, stud. Aaron Brewer, stud. Keep those guys. Those guys need to stay. Patrick Paul didn't have that bad of a game. He was all right. He's not amazing, but he's a rookie, so he's learning. So you got some guys right there. Liam Eichenberg needs to leave. He needs to literally put his jersey in the locker room and tell everybody, deuces, I don't deserve to be here. I don't know why I still have a job. He's probably still questioning it. Oh, man, I can go. I want to go off. And again, it's the funniest thing about this whole situation right now is Waddle went down. And what did we do in the beginning? This is where, to accumulate all of this, bad decision after bad decision after bad decision. Who did we just release a couple of days ago? Odell Beckham Jr. And Waddle goes down with the injury, and I was like, this is just so Miami Dolphins that you just released him a week too soon. Because if Odell Beckham was in this game, I don't know if it turns out the same. I think we have another. I don't think Malik Washington was ready to face this secondary right now. That's not your number 2 receiver. Release Odell Beckham. And we just bad decision after bad decision. And like I said, it needs to be a whole new philosophy, whole new everything. And if Stephen Ross wants to even see a shot at doing anything in the playoffs, you need to make a move right now, because this is it's atrocious. And it's frustrating to watch, and I think for the past almost a decade, we've tried to get these rinky-dink head coaches in here with Mike McDaniel and even Brian Flores and Adam Gase and Joe Philbin and Tony Sparano, all these guys that are like rinky-dink, wildcat, little finessey whatevers. You just need to get a football coach in here, Bill Belichick is in UNC. I'm saying Vrabel, man, we don't need any more, What's the worst thing about all of this is that the Shanahan tree had LaFleur, it had DeMeco Ryans, it had a bunch of other coaches that are pretty successful. And the one coach that we got is the one coach that sucks out of all of them, which is, it's ridiculous. It's like, Of course, the Miami Dolphins, out of the Shanahan tree, picked the one coach that sucks. The one coach. Like, we get the one guy that's just not good. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll talk about draft picks. And, yeah, I mean, at this point, you guys were right. I was wrong about Tua. I was wrong about him. He's not a good quarterback. He's not a great quarterback. He's not going to win you any games that you need to win. He's just an average guy. He's an average Joe that's pretty accurate. It's just, he's a Tom Brady without the Tom Brady in him. He's a Peyton Manning without the Peyton Manning in him. That's what I think is really the key here. He's got the traits of all these different quarterbacks, but he doesn't have that, like, dog in him that these quarterbacks have. He doesn't have that, and it's been 3 years of seeing it. He doesn't. Unless he completely changes and proves us wrong, I'm guessing on another team. I don't think he'll be here. He just doesn't have that dog in him. He doesn't have that player in him that elevates in times like this. He just completely shrinks in the big moments. And it is what it is. As always, guys, fins up, baby. Love you all. Peace.